Hari Om. We are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Let us start with the invocation prayer, followed by the Bhagavad Gita mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Arjuna Vishada Yoga Nama Pradhamodhyayaha. Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. Sloka 1. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, what are my sons and Pandavas assembled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra are doing? Sloka 2. Sanjaya Uvacha Društva tu Pandavanikam Vyudham Duryodanastada Acharyamupasangamya Raja Vachanamabravit. Sloka 2. Sanjaya, who has the power to see and listen the happenings in the battlefield, replies, King Duryodhana, having seen the formation of Pandava's army, approached Drona, his teacher, and spoke few words. Sloka 3. Pasyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamom Vyudham Drupata Putrena Tava Sishyena Dhimata. Sloka 3. Duryodhana says, O my revered teacher, I see mighty army of the sons of Pandu formed by the son of Drupada, and it seems very strong. The first sloka in this chapter begins with a question on how the formation of army in the battlefield, the Kurukshetra, by the blind king Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya, who has the power to see and listen to the happenings in the battlefield, begins his narration of Bhagavad Gita, the conversation between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Arjuna, the great archer. The two words are very important in the first sloka, Dharmakshetra and Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra, the place where the war was fought, in a Dharmakshetra, where Dharma is in every grain of the soil. It is interesting that this sloka is rendered by the blind king Dhritarashtra, who is unknowingly indicates the victory of Dharma over Adharma. What is Dharma? Swami Chinmayananda states in his commentary, the word Dharma came from Dhar, which denotes uphold, support and sustain. He further elaborates the meaning of Dharma as that which holds the different characteristic of an object as a whole. Always we think of religious angle of Dharma as righteousness, morality, charity, etc. But the root meaning of Dharma need to be understood as is. The sweetness is the Dharma of sugar. The burning is Dharma of fire. So we can have several examples of the same. How do we relate these three slokas in our lives? We began our lives with a struggle to cry when we were born. And these struggles continues from our childhood to old age. We are constantly in a battlefield of Kurukshetra. How many wars we won with the Dharma and how many with Adharma? We need to think and contemplate. Did we follow the path of Pandava or the path of Kaurava in our entire lives? There were many wars, many conflicts. Some are external, some are internal. Few we won and were very happy. Many we lost, we were unhappy. Many times we were in despair, depressed, angry. And these wars have become part and parcel of our lives. We need to find an end to facing the war. Every day is a struggle for us. The old king Dhritarashtra is very fond of his children, like every parent, asking how his son's army is arrayed. He knows that the Kauravas have followed the path of Adharma. He knows the end may not be his side. He knows that Dharma will eventually win. Just to give an example, we always ask somebody to look at our children, how they are playing, despite we know that they are weak in playing cricket or soccer or hockey. And parents always will be very anxious and always want the best out of their children. So this is a lesson to many of us. We are constantly in the battlefield. Many wars to be faced. We are constantly attached to our near and dear, despite knowing the weaknesses of our own kin. Hari Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. We are studying Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade
Arjuna Vishada Yoga Nama Pradhamodhyayaha.
Let us briefly discuss the second sloka rendered by Sanjaya. Duryodhana, after viewing the formation of the Pandavas' army arrayed in the battlefield, which are less in number than Kaurava's army, felt nervous and was frightened. He approached his teacher Dronacharya not necessarily as an obedient student but as a king. He could not control his pride and he did not have the humility as a student. Duryodhana not only pointed out to Dronacharya the strength of the formation of the Pandavas' army arrayed by the son of the Drupada, but also indicated that Dronacharya cannot be compromising in fighting as well as show leniencies with the Pandavas. Arjuna and Drushtadumnu were the students of Dronacharya. Both were brilliant and favorite students of him. Chapter 1, Sloka 4. Atra Sura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharadaha. Sloka 5. Drushtaketus Chikitanaha Kasirajascha Viryavan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Saibhyascha Narapungavaha. Sloka 6. Yudha Manyuscha Vikranta Uttamaujascha Viryavan Sobhadro Draupadeyascha Sarvayeva Maharathaha. Sloka 7. Asmakam tu visishtaye Tanibodha Dvijottama Nayaka mama sainyasya Sanjardham tan bravimite. Here in this army are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, the great fighters like Yudhana, Virata and Drupada. There are also great heroic, powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kasiraja, Purujit, Kuntibhoja and Saibhya. Mighty Yudhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamanuja, the son of Subhadra and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. Duryodhana says that these noted archers are as great as Bhima and Arjuna. He implies that the effectiveness of the Pandavas' army is possibly greater than his own army. Swami Chinmayananda indicates that Duryodhana is a weak man. He wants to escape from his own mental fears as well as guilty conscience. Hence, he whistles himself in the dark. How do we relate these slokas in our lives? How many times we have not seen fear in those with bad motives and crooked dealings? We can see in their faces, though they may appear to hide their fear and nervousness, etc. A person who is pure behaves fearlessly and confident in approaching the issue despite many limitations. How many times we ran into our own parents when fearful and nervous to get solace and advice. Think about it. Finally, If our motives are contaminated, our cause is injustifiable, no matter how we are equipped with the fantastic physical, mental, and psychological tools. We feel restless and agitated. We need to recognize and make necessary corrections to address the same immediately. Hari Om. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Hari Om. We are studying Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Sloka 8 to 19. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishnarjuna Samvade Arjuna Vishada Yoga Nama Pradhamodhyayaha. After reviewing the formation of Pandava's army, confidently arrayed by the son of Drupada, Duryodhana, though nervous, fearful, and doubtful about his army's success, continued to speak to his teacher Dronacharya about his own army. Very interestingly, he called his teacher a Dvijottama, or twice born. It denotes a Brahmin considered as twice born because his birth from the mother initially, and thereafter through continuous tapas, one gains more and more discipline, knowledge through contemplation. Brahmanas are normally have a greater share of softness in their heart, especially to dear and near. Duryodhana was doubtful about the loyalty of his teacher, and he considers that he is very soft towards his dear students Arjuna as well as Drushtadumna. Sloka 8. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Krupascha Samitinjayah Asvattama Vikarnascha Saumadatistadhaivacha. 9. Anye cha bahuva sura madharde tyakta jivita nana sastra praharana sarve yuddha visarada. 10. Aparyaptam tadasmakam palam bhishmabhirakshitam paryaptam dvitametesham balam bhimabhirakshitam. Sloka 11. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagamavastitaha bhishmamevabhirakshantu avatah sarva eva hi. Tasya sanjanayanarharsham kururuddha pitamaha simhanadam vinadyochaihi sankam dadmo pratapavan. 15. Tatas sankascha bherascha
पणवानकगोमुखाः सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्त ससब्दुस्तु मुलोऽभवत् ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवैश्चैव दिव्यैः शङ्खौ प्रदद्मतुः पाञ्चजन्यं हृषीकेशः देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः पौण्ड्रं दद्मौ महाशङ्खं भीमकर्मावृकोदरः Sloka 16 अनन्तविजयं राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सहदेवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ कास्यश्च परमेश्वासः शिखण्डी च महारथः दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्च पराजितः 18 द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः शङ्खान्दुद्मुः पृथक् पृथक् सघोषोदार्तराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यधारयत् नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव tumulobyhanunadayan. In Sloka 8, Duryodhana mentions the great warriors in his army, the Bhishma Pitamaha, Karna, Krupa, Aswadhama, Vikarna, and son of Somadatta and himself, that is Dronacharya. In spite of praise of his own army, Dronacharya did not respond to insulting words, the twice born mentioned by Duryodhana. Sloka 9, he also indicated that many other heroes also determined to fight the war and give up their lives to his sake, that is the Duryodhana's sake. Sloka 10, Duryodhana compares the army of Kauravas defended by Bhishma Pitamaha is insufficient in spite of its vastness, but the army of Pandavas, though small, defended by Bhima and Arjuna, is sufficient. Bhishma is the commander-in-chief of Kauravas' army and considered as a defender. Sloka 11, Duryodhana continues to indicate that Bhishma, the defender of Kauravas' army, need to be protected by the entire army. He realized that integration of different battalions of army is critical and the backbone of any army's success. He instructed all the commanders to work harmoniously to protect the commander-in-chief Bhishma. Seeing what is happening in the battlefield and the conversation between Duryodhana and Dronacharya, the Bhishma Pitamaha, the oldest of Kauravas, now sounded aloud his conch, that is the Shankha. Realizing the situation in the battlefield, and Duryodhana continuously speaking to Dronacharya and other warriors, Bhishma Pitamaha, with a lion roar, blew his conch to send a unwavering waves of confidence into the hearts of commanders of his army. Mayeva mana adhatsva mayi buddhim nivesaya nivasishyasi mayeva atavurdhvam na samsayah. Summary of Sloka 14. On the other side of the army, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their conch shells. In contrast with the conch shells blown by Bhishma Pitamaha, the conch shells in the hand of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shells indicate that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of Pandavas. Besides that, the chariot on which both Lord Krishna and Arjuna were seated had been donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjuna, and this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides, where it was drawn over the three worlds. Summary of Sloka 15. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew the Devadatta, and Bhima, the vicarious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra. Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesha in this verse because he is the owner of all senses. The living entities are part and parcel of him. Therefore, the senses of living entities are also part and parcel of his senses. Later, we will discuss the different names of Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Arjuna in detail. Sloka 16 and 18 summarizes the conchs which were blown by King Yudhishthira, Nakula and Sahadeva, and the great archer King Kasi, Sikhandi, Drushtadumna, Virata, and unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the son of Draupadi, and others. Sloka 19 summarizes the blowing of conchs by the Pandavas' army. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. When Bhishma and others on the side of Duryodhana blew their respective conch shells, there was no heartbreaking on the part of the Pandavas. Such occurrences are not mentioned, but in this particular verse, it is mentioned that the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by Pandavas' party. This is due to the Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. One who takes shelter in Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity. What symbolizes the sound of a conch or a shankha? It symbolizes the sound of Om, the sound of Shankha. What symbolizes the sound of a conch or shankha? It's the sound of Shankha symbolizes the sacred Om, and Lord Vishnu holding the conch represents him as the god of sound. It also symbolizes good will prevail over the evil. What symbolizes the sound of a conch or a shankha? It symbolizes the sound of Om, that is Paramatma or Brahman. Lord Vishnu holding the conch represents him as the god of sound. It also symbolizes the purity, brilliance, and auspiciousness. It has a meditative and soothing effect on the human mind. It is used as marking the beginning of any good work associated. It is considered that good will always prevail over the evil. Also creates terror in the enemy's heart, like how Lord Krishna's conch created terror in the hearts of Kaurava's army. Hari Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. We are studying Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, from Sloka 20 to 23. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Arjuna Vishada Yoga Nama Pradhamodhyayaha. Sloka 20. Atha vyavasthitan društva dhartarashtran kapidvajaha pravrutte sastra sampate dhanurudyamya pandavaha Hrishikesam tada vakyam idamahamahipate. Arjuna uvacha senayor ubhayor madhye radham stapaya mechuta. Sloka 22. Yavadetan niricheham yoddhukamanavasthitan kairmaya sahayodhavyam asmin rana samudyame. Sloka 23. Yotsyamanane vecheham yayetetra samagataha dhartarashtrasya durbuddhir yuddhe priyachikirshavaha. Sanjaya gave us in detail an exhaustive description of Pandava's forces and the divine sounds of conch shells blown by Pandavas in the battlefield. Blowing of conch shell is considered as the commencement of war in the battlefield. Summary of Sloka 20. Then seeing the commanders of Kaurava's army arrayed and battle about to begin, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, whose ensign was a Hanuman, took up his bow and spoke these words to Krishna, O Lord of the earth. Swami Chinmayananda, in his commentary, says, Arjuna, the hero of the Mahabharata, arrived on the battlefield. Arjuna had his own personal flag, carrying clearly a well-recognized symbol, Hanuman. Arjuna said to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, O Achyuta, place my chariot in the middle of the two armies. I shall be able to see those who stand here willing to fight on the eve of this battle. It will let me know with whom I must fight. Swami Chinmayananda indicates that Arjuna wished to review the enemy army formation. He is showing a great courage, readiness, determination. Summary of Sloka 23. Arjuna is giving reasons why he wanted to review the enemy lines. He wanted to find for himself who are warmongers, power hungry, full of greed, and have adharmic principles. Let us briefly discuss the significance of having Hanuman on the flag and the chariot in which Arjuna is going to fight in the battlefield. The name of the chariot of Arjuna was Nandighosh, and it has the Hanuman as a symbol called Kapidvaja. The chariot of Arjuna has 5 horses, representing the 5 senses: taste, sight, hearing, smell, and touching. The chariot's reins, which the charioteer uses to drive these horses and the chariot, symbolizes the human mind. The emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna is another sign of victory because Hanuman was with Lord Rama during the war with Ravana. Lord Rama emerged as victorious in the Rama Ravana's war. In these 4 slokas, Bhagavan Sri Krishna was addressed as Madhava, Rishikesha, Achyuta. Hari Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om. We are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Sloka 24 to 27.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Atha Srimad-Bhagavad-Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma-Vidyayam Yoga-Shastre Sri Krishna-Arjuna-Samvade Arjuna Vishada Yoga Nama Pradhamodhyayah.
Sloka 24. Sanjaya Uvacha Eva Mukto Rushikesya Gudakesena Bharata Senayor Ubayor Madhye Stapayitva Radottamam. Sloka 25. Bhishmadrona Pramukataha Sarvesham cha Mahitshitam Uvacha Partha Pasyaitan Samavetan Kuroniti. Summary of Sloka 24 and 25. Sanjaya said, following the request from Arjuna, who is referred here as Gudakesha, Bhagavan Krishna stationed the chariot between the 2 army lines. Further, Lord Krishna said, O Partha, behold these Kurus, Bhishma, Drona, and other rulers of the earth gathered here. Sloka 26.
तत्र पश्यत् स्थितान् पार्थ पितॄनथ पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तदा सस्वरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि श्लोका 27 तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः सर्वान् बन्धुनवस्थितान् कृपया परयोऽविष्टः विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत्. Summary of Sloka 26 and 27. Partha saw in both armies fathers, grandparents, teachers, uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, and friends also. He, the son of Kunti, also saw father in law's friends in both armies. He then spoke sorrowfully, filled with pity and tears in his eyes. Sanjaya from Sloka 14 continues to describe in details of army formation and conversations as well as actions at the battlefield. Arjuna, having requested Bhagavan Krishna to place the chariot in between two armies, which Lord Krishna has done it. Lord Krishna warned Arjuna to be prepared as great Kaurava warriors such as Bhishma Pitamaha, Drona, and many more are ready to fight for Duryodhana in this war. Though confident, full of energy and determination to face the enemy and as well as fight, Arjuna's outlook suddenly changed after seeing his near and dear. He showed immediate concern that all these warriors only ready to put their lives for Duryodhana. His eyes were pitiful and filled with tears and became very compassionate. Swami Chinmayananda in his commentary states that the only words spoke by Krishna in this chapter was quote unquote, behold, O Partha, to represent the sparks and to set fire into the ego of Arjuna. He had a false valuation as the greatest hero of all times. He further states that Arjuna recognized in his enemy lines the dear and near, which brought up in his mind the tragedies of a fratricidal war and a flood of pity and compassion. Swami Chinmayananda further indicates that it is not an honest emotion but to glorify one's own weaknesses. It may also be feelings of depression and his anxious desire for a victorious end of the war. Sanjaya addresses Arjuna as Gudakesha. Swami Prabhupada explains the meaning of Gudakesha as one who conquers sleep that represents darkness and ignorance. How do we understand these slokas? Was Arjuna was nervous about the outcome of the war? Was he anxious to be victorious? Is it the beginning of showing initial symptoms of what is called Arjuna's disease? Let us conclude this session understanding the meaning of names by which Bhagavan Krishna was addressed. First one, Madhava means consort of goddess Lakshmi. Rishikesha, lord of senses or god of all senses. Achyuta, Chuti means destruction. Achyuta means one who cannot be destroyed. Or one can describe this as one who does not have six types of changes: birth, living, growth, motion, weaknesses, and destruction. Kesava, one with bright light, or one with beautiful hair. Hari Om.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः
Hari Om. We are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, from Sloka 28 to 31.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अर्जुनविषादयोगो नाम प्रथमोऽध्यायः।
Sloka 28 Arjuna Uvacha दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युत्सं समुपस्थितं सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति. Sloka 29 वेपधुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्त्वा त्यक्चैव परिहध्यते. Summary of Sloka 28 and 29. O Krishna, I am seeing all my relatives, friends present before me in the battlefield. I feel my limbs are shaking and my mouth is drying up. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing up straight. My bow, Gandiva, is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning. Sloka 30. न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव. Summary of Sloka 30. Arjuna further adds that he is unable to stand in the battlefield any longer. His mind is agitated, he is becoming forgettable about himself. He says, O Kesava, I only see many misfortunes are going to happen. Sloka 31. न च श्रेयनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च. Summary of Sloka 31. Arjuna continues, O Krishna, killing of my own kinsmen in the war may not and will not bring any good, and I don't desire to be victorious in this war, possess any kingdom, or be happy. In these slokas, Arjuna began showing the early symptoms of neurosis in the battlefield and do not want to be victorious. Swami Prabhupada describes there are two types of trembling of the body. It occurs when one is ecstatic or out of fear from external objects, persons, and circumstances. Arjuna is fearful of loss of life of near and dear. He further adds that Arjuna is started to lose his mental equilibrium. Swami Prabhupada provides an important insight on the word nimittani viparitani. When a person is anxious, frustrated, and ability to meet his expectations are minimal, he thinks, why I am here, and is interested in himself and his own welfare. Swami Chenmayananda states in the commentary that symptoms described by Arjuna after seeing all his relatives' friends in the battlefield are considered to be the classical symptoms of anxiety neurosis. He further adds that Arjuna adds more symptoms of his disease at the mental level, that his mind is becoming unsteady, agitated, and turning to be chaotic. Arjuna has lost the characteristics of Kshatriya Dharma. At this time, he says, Arjuna's objective mind, that is at the body level, is not guided by the subjective mind, the intellect that usually guides the mind. Arjuna urgently wanted the kingdom, be victorious, and have all the pleasures. But seeing the mighty forces of Kauravas, great warriors standing ready to fight, shattered his hopes and his confidence in winning the war. How do we relate the essence of these slokas? Are there any similarities of symptoms of Arjuna in the battlefield of Mahabharata and in us when we are in the similar situations in our lives? The struggles, conflicts we all face externally as well as internally at home, at work, in the family, society, and the community. When faced initially, we feel confident in addressing and resolving all conflicts and struggles at all levels. But many times, a sense of nervousness, desperation, lack of self confidence drive us in a state of mental inequilibrium. We wish to permanently withdraw from these difficult situations. We ask ourselves, why am I here and in this situation? We forget our true responsibility and the true essence of our existence. Think about it. Hari Om. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Hari Om. We are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Sloka 32 to 37. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अर्जुनविषादयोगो नाम प्रथमोऽध्यायः। किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा येषामर्धे काञ्चितं नो राज्यं भोगा सुखानि च. Sloka 33. तयिमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणां त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्याः पितरः पुत्रा तथैव च पितामहः. Sloka 34. मातुला स्वसुराः पौत्रा श्यालाः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान्न हन्तुमिच्छामि घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन. Summary of Sloka 32 to 34. Arjuna said, O Krishna, I do not desire victory, kingdom, or pleasures. O Govinda, what are the benefits of such pleasures or such a good life itself? Many of them whose sake I desire kingdom and enjoyment are in the battlefield ready to fight till death. Teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, and relatives are in this war. Sloka 35. अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतोः किं नु मही कृते निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिः स्या जनार्दन. Sloka 36. पापमेवाश्रयाद् अस्मान् हत्वैतानाततायिनः तस्मान्नार्ह वयं हन्तुं धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबन्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव. Summary of Sloka 35 and 36. O Madhusudana, though I may not kill sons of Dhritarashtra, they might kill me. O Janardana, killing the sons of Dhritarashtra, what pleasures can be of mine? I will gain sin or papa by killing these brothers and near and dear. Sloka 37. यद्यव्येतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहतचेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रदोहे च पातकम्. O Matsudana, we shall not fight the war with Kauravas and kill Duryodhana and all other Kauravas who are our own relatives and wanted to be happy. Arjuna continues to express his arguments to Bhagavan Krishna against fighting the war in Kurukshetra. His nervous symptoms are slowly changing from a mild level to moderate level, has not yet fully developed a, a disease. He is justifying the retreat from all his duties and responsibilities of a true Kshatriya. Arjuna was expecting an endorsement of his decision not to fight from Krishna, but he was not forthcoming an answer to Arjuna. Arjuna declared that he is not going to kill his near and dear even if they kill him, will not fight the war even if for all the three worlds. He further adds that there is no good can arise from killing of sons of Dhritarashtra. Arjuna is beginning to make conclusion of his rational arguments that he should not kill or face the enemy. He addresses Krishna by several names and asked him how he would be happy by killing one's own near and dear. Swami Chinmayananda, in his commentary, states that in spite of Arjuna's arguments, Krishna was silent as a sphinx. The meaning of Atatayanaha is explained as those who are felons who can be killed. Swami Chinmayananda further states that sin is only a mistake of an individual committed against his own self at body, mind, and intellect level, which do not take the responsibility and duty of a true man. As mentioned earlier, Arjuna's logical and step by step arguments, though irrational, not supported by Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he wanted an endorsement from his friend, philosopher, and guide. Don't we all feel the same way when we are in similar circumstances? Hari Om.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः.
We are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Sloka 38 to 44.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अर्जुनविषादयोगो नाम प्रथमोऽध्यायः.
Sloka 38. Kadham न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान् निवर्तितं कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन. Sloka 39. कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मा सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृष्णम् अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत. Summary Sloka 38 and 39. There, Kaurava's buddhi is clouded by greed and see no evil in the destruction of families and see no sin in their cruelty to their friends. O Janardhana, why we should not retreat from this war, seeing evil in destruction of families. Sloka 40. अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसङ्करः. Sloka 41. सङ्करो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो ह्येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रिया. Summary Sloka 40 and 41. The Kula Dharma or family values and Sanatana Dharma, spiritual values, destroyed after the slaying, and entire family develops irreligious habits. O Varsneya, by the prevalence of disrespect to family dharma, the women of family prone to adultery and intermingling of castes shall become common. Because of intermixing of castes, family traditions, as set by the Varnasrama Dharma, becomes chaotic and their forefathers are deprived of offering pinda or rice ball. Sloka 42. दोषैरेतैः कुलज्ञानां वर्णसङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्माः कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वता. Summary Sloka 42. By this confusion of castes created by deeds of destroyer of family, its traditions, values, and spiritual practices becomes chaotic, may be vanished permanently. Sloka 43. उत्सन्नकुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासः भवतीत्यनुशुश्रुमा. Summary Sloka 43. Arjuna says, O Janardana, I heard those men who destroyed family traditions will reside in hell, that is Narakaloka, permanently. Sloka 44. Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yadrajya sukhalobhena hantun swajanamudyata. Arjuna seems to draw new inspirations from his intellect and put forth new arguments. He now brings up the effects of destruction of family structure, values, morals, and subsequent results of such actions following the war. Arjuna is clearly seeing the chaos the war might create in the society. Forgiveness of miscreants and their wrong behavior is his duty. Now, in the context of Hinduism, refers to a social class within a hierarchical caste system. The ideology is epitomized in the text like Manusmriti, which describes and ranks four varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya, and Sudra. The varnas are intermingled with four stages of life of a human being. First one is Brahmacharya, second one is Grihastha, third one is Vanaprastha, fourth one is Sannyasa. Many principles of religious traditions which help a family to grow in the world as well as have spiritual values are embedded in the Grihastha Dharma. This is also called Kula Dharma or family values, which will lead into developing spiritual values. Swami Chinmayananda reiterates that Kula Dharma indicates rules of living, thinking, acting united within the family. The sages discovered and initiated a culture that is spiritual, and in spiritual culture is maintained, transformed through religious practices. Arjuna reiterates the consequence of family destruction that leads to loss of moral values and admixture of castes. He continues his arguments on the caste admixture and reiterates that family traditions are flouted and ruined. Arjuna implies that If family life is shattered, when morality is lost, will eventually lead to destruction of purity of living and clear thinking in the individual's home life. Finally, how cleverly Arjuna brought out his arguments against the war and its effect on family dharma, and is not prepared to commit such a grave sinful act for the sake of attaining the kingdom. Is there a lesson for all of us in these slokas?
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 Hari Om. We are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Sloka 45 to 46. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अर्जुनविषादयोगो नाम प्रथमोऽध्यायः Sloka 45 यदि माम अप्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः धार्त्रा राष्ट्रारणे हन्युः तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्. Summary Sloka 45. Arjuna said, better for me if sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in their hand, kill me unarmed, unresisting in the battlefield. Sloka 46. Sanjaya Uvacha एवमुक्तार्जुनः सङ्ख्ये रथोपस्थमुपाविशत् विसृज्य ससरं चापं शोकसंविघ्नमानसः. Summary Sloka 46. Sanjaya said, after speaking in the battlefield, Arjuna set aside his bow and arrows, sat down in the chariot with mind full of grief and sorrow. In conclusion of chapter 1, I shall briefly summarize the important arguments set aside by Arjuna as well as mention few comments. Arjuna, the greatest hero of his time, a great archer and man of action, realized the tragedies of a war involving his near, dear family members, brothers, cousins, teachers, and grandparents, as well as friends. He had a preoccupation in his mind, dreaming about victory in the war. But having seen the army lines of Kauravas, he became nervous and started showing symptoms of what we call it as anxiety neurosis, as described by Swami Chinmayananda. Arjuna started to speak to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, putting forward his arguments. First one,
He said, I have no desire for victory, nor kingdom, nor pleasure. This seems to be the first sign of negative thought. Second argument, he continues, I wish to retreat from this war. I do not wish to kill these Kauravas for all the three worlds, even if they kill me in this war. He continues, how can be one happy by killing one's own people? Killing of these sons of Dhritarashtra's, I will only gain sin or papa. Though Kauravas do not see committing great sin by destroying the families in the society, why should fall in the same trap of committing such a sin? He then chronologically argues the effect of family destructions on Sanatana Dharma, Kula Dharma, religious rights, and spirituality. Arjuna forcefully brought out family dharma as an argument against the civil war. He indicated that family destruction will lead to intermixing of castes. Those men who engage in the destruction of families and the religious practices will stay in hell for unknown period of time. Hence, I am not prepared to commit such a sin for the pleasure of the kingdom. He says, O Krishna, it is better, and I am ready to be slayed, unarmed, unresisting in the hands of Kauravas than committing great sin. Exhausted by his state of mind, body trembling, fully confused, Arjuna sat down in the seat of his chariot, casting away his arrows and bow. He, from neurosis, has slowly developed the well known disease called Arjuna's disease, the cure which is the theme of Gita, as stated by Swami Chinmayananda. Few comments from Swami Chinmayananda. Swami Chinmayananda mentions that the study of culture was the main topic of our forefathers. They knew that culture and traditions are the backbone of family unity, societal cohesion, and integrity of a nation. He also distinguishes the difference between the age old family structure, that is, extended family with elders advising young generation, and the modern nuclear family. He says that without the influence of elders, there is no self control or self discipline in the family unit. He finally says that our forefathers wanted to improve the standard of life. Current generation only interested in improving the standard of living. I end the quote. How do we relate these slokas in our lives? The state of mind of Arjuna and in many of us on most of the occasions, if not all, are almost similar. Lord Krishna was unresponsive and unempathetic to his discourse. Arjuna had to put forward different types of arguments at a different angles for the withdrawal from the battle. Don't we do the same when our dear friends and well wishers are unsympathetic and don't support us? Similarly, we also continue to justify our thinking from different angles. इत्यार्षे श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे
श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अर्जुनविषादयोगो नाम प्रथमोऽध्यायः।
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।